Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. SUPERTOHOREMIX back once again with another update. And the reason why I might sound like I'm completely doped out is because we here in Britain are experiencing an unusual heat wave, to the point where we're experiencing wildfires. Yeah, fancy that. Britain having wildfires. Completely unheard of as far as I'm concerned, well, at least when it comes to recent times. Anyway, in this update, there are mainly three things I want to try and go over, and I'm going to try and stick with them as best as I can. But if I sound like really tired and mellowed out throughout this recording, it's because one, I am tired, and two, this heat is not making anything better. So, to dive right into it, the elephant in the room, the first thing I want to cover is my playthrough Jurassic World Evolution. To simply put, I'm thinking of scrapping it, to be honest, and I actually have two reasons for this. The first big reason is, at the time I'm making these videos, I am looking around at the current environment of what other people are doing, and my schedule of literally uploading recordings as soon as I do them, and do them like once or twice a week, versus certain other popular channels who somehow have the time and energy to pump out 3 videos of the game every single day. So while during my recording of episode 4, I was still mucking around with one of the earlier islands, a good percentage of everyone else has already finished the game, and even more so. And it's also gone to a point where I'm literally playing through the game as I'm making these episodes. So it kind of got to a point where I thought to myself, you know what? It seems like my episodes are not really getting that much traction, and I kind of want to get on with the game now. So what I've subsequently done is, over the past week, I've literally just blitzed through the game as much as I can within my own time. That's kind of gating my blind playthrough. So for the very few who did enjoy those, I sincerely apologise about that, but a combination of seeing the current gauge in where those episodes, and just seeing how much interest they have truly accumulated, versus the episodes of those produced by the more popular channels like Gaming Beaver and Best in Slot, there is simply no way I can compete, which I wasn't trying to do, but considering they have been doing Let's Plays for years and they have a better experience than us, they can produce better content, which this sort of thing was kind of like my first foray outside of Operation Genesis, which ironically seems to be more popular than my Jurassic World Evolution episodes. This doesn't mean, however, that I am done with the game in regards to my YouTube completely. I do have some ideas in regards to what I could upload, like possibly park builds or other bits and pieces. But in regards to a full-on playthrough, I want to make sure that if I were to ever do another one, that at least I can go in with everything ready to go, and I won't be stumbling around like a complete idiot. So, for those who did enjoy the Jurassic World Evolution playthrough, I sincerely apologise, but as it stands, that is going the way of extinction. So that's just a heads up on my Jurassic World Evolution content out of the way. The second thing, and I think the one thing a lot of you have been anticipating, is when exactly I'm going to produce new mashup material. I still can't say because Project 8 is still taking up some of my time, and I want to make sure I get that done as much as possible. So I can't really say when I'm going to exactly start producing brand new mashups on a daily basis again. The only reason for the recent Devilman Crybaby mashup is because that was literally lightning in a bottle, where I heard the Insomnia song, and in the background, immediately I somehow put 2 and 2 together and thought Judgment from Devilman Crybaby could go well with this. But that's a whole different forte. And again, lightning in a bottle, so it's one of those things where if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So outside of that, I can't exactly tell you when I got new mashup material coming out. In fact, I have to thank you guys so much for putting up with that factor, and you're still enjoying some of my older material regardless of the fact that they dip up and down in quality versus the stuff I produced from Tribute Album 4 onwards. So I can at least say that when I do get around to making new mashup material, I'm going to try and give it my all. In fact, I think a couple of weeks ago, I didn't get it fully finished, but I did attempt getting back into trying and making one brand new mashup. I still got a lot of work to do on it. It's very early days yet, but I want to make sure that the quality for it is there. I think it could work for what I have in mind. I think it could possibly work. It's just, once again, it's just the old fun task of tinkering with tempos and pitch. But hey, anything to get some decent synergy off. That's why Valse Angels and Tempered Defeat worked out so well. Okay, so in regards to mashup material, I can't promise anything, but I do have a couple of ideas in mind. I guess I can reveal 2 of them, maybe. One of the ideas is Myth from the Heisei Gamera trilogy, and also I kind of have an idea with the Heisei Mechagodzilla theme. However, if that works out, it could prove to be my most controversial mashup yet, because I'm doing something, well, what I have in mind with it at least, is completely unconventional. It's going to be something a lot of people won't expect, but if it works out, then it could possibly be my first Marmite mashup, so to speak, because as I mentioned in the past, people are very protective in regards to Akira's music for the Godzilla series. So I think if I were to get into some kind of trouble, this potential mashup might be the one to do it. Well, I guess that gives me credence to build my metal bunker outside, but hey, it is what it is. Also, someone dumped the soundtrack to the second Godzilla anime movie on YouTube a couple of days ago, and I have been wanting to try and atone for Guerrilla War and hopefully make something decent out of the sequel soundtrack. So we'll see about that as well. One thing I do want to try and aim to do, possibly in the future, is, as hard as it's going to be, is have a bigger focus on Soa. The reason why I haven't tapped into Soa so much is Showa. The reason I haven't tapped into Showa so much is because, 1, the quality of the recordings, and 2, just trying to find just what will go well with them. The Kamakura smash up with the Cuphead track, for example, was just a complete miracle, and thankfully that worked out. But I can't say that success is going to repeat itself with other Soa Godzilla films, especially ones with Akira tracks in them. God damn it! It's like I do remember trying to do a mashup of King Ghidorah stream in the past, and at the time I thought I did a pretty decent job. But when I hear it now, I just want to get an iron chrome bar and whack my younger self for thinking it actually sounded any good at all. So I'll be lying to you if I flat out said that trying to make brand new Godzilla mashups full stop is going to be a bit tricky from here on out, just because what else is there left to work with. And the last thing I want to do, San Shin Godzilla, is go back to the same soundtrack over and over again. And that's something I really want to avoid. I want to try and, as ambitious as it sounds, I want to try and cover nearly all the Godzilla soundtrack library. That isn't a promise, but if that's what it takes to bring new content to the channel, then so be it. I will try and seek out what I can get to work. One word of warning though, I have really been getting into the Gran Turismo soundtracks recently, and the great thing about the Gran Turismo music is that goes over so many different genres. So I've been looking into the Gran Turismo library, and I think I have a couple of things that might just be able to work out with that kind of music. So we'll see. This is all up in the air, in the cards, so on and so forth, but it's just to let you know that I am not going to keep you guys hanging on that front forever. Now, the final thing I want to cover, and probably the most important thing in this update, Project 8, the codename Project 8. It's been going slow and steady, but what I can say is I am making some decent headway with it. For example, about a month ago, when I got some initial frames ready, I tried a test animation, which I'm not exactly going to be releasing to the public, but this is more so a way for me to check to see how smooth the animation looks. And at that point in time, I only matched like a minute of footage out of something like 1,000 photos, and that was a little bit disconcerting at first. I thought to myself, how many frames is it going to take for me to get a decent length of when I finalize this project? Because the last thing I want to do is end up taking all of these photographs, and trust me, I've taken loads, and end up making something like a 5-minute animation. But just recently, I completed another set of frames for the project, which I think now equates to something like over 3,000 photos taken so far. And when I put that into Sony Vegas, combined with the previous test, and then set those to the current frame rate preference I have on Sony Vegas, now that's creeping into 3 minutes. So that gave me a little bit of encouragement, because at least that tells me that my current the stuff I've gotten so far for it that actually made some decent time. And this is going to be made even longer when I go through the final editing Oh my god, this damn heat melting my brain and make it coming out of my ear holes. Excuse me. Ugh. Right, yes. In post-production, I'm going to make sure that despite the fact I've got decent time on what I've accumulated so far already, I will make sure it'll be made even longer. Like, for example, there'll be some still frames, there'll be filters here and there, and then just ironing out a few kinks in a couple of places, and then we'll go from there. Unfortunately, my end target goal of August is not exactly going to be happening because of the amount of time it's taken, and I've not been able to make progress every single night since the project started. However, the flip side of that coin is the set I've made and the way I've designed it, it can be assembled and disassembled. So what I'm going to do is during the week a certain someone comes home, I'm going to put the literal set pieces in black bags and store them in the shed. Now, I am using trees, for those who actually saw the Project 8 teaser. I am using trees, but for this reason, they're not stuck down. So it shouldn't be too much of a hassle to get sorted out. And then once said person has gone back, I can get the set out again and I can carry on. For this reason and a couple of other factors, I can't exactly say when Project 8 is going to be 100% completed, because I'm still focusing on getting as much animation done as possible and getting as many shots for the said animation captured as possible. Which again, so far I've accumulated, it must be coming up to at least under or over 3,000 photos. So I've still got a while yet. The time frame I have in mind at this rate I am working at could possibly stem from 10 to 15 minutes. I very originally had 25 minutes in mind, but considering how tricky it's been trying to sort out certain scenes, that sounds way more ambitious, and thus I've had to reduce the expected time frame by a large margin. But hey, we'll see when we get to that point, and hopefully I can deliver a bit more of an idea of what the project actually is around that time. But for those who have waited patiently, which once again I sincerely thank you for your patience and your support, I guess there is one thing I can kind of give away. For those who are in the know and those who are kind of diehard Godzilla fans might have an inkling as to what the title of Project 8 means, especially if they are particularly hardcore and looking at promotion material. Because what I have in mind for the project is it takes place after a certain event in one of the time periods in the Godzilla series as a whole. And what I am not doing is seemingly what 85% of other Godzilla fan movies do, is that they always harken back to the original 1954 film as a bloody reference point. I get why it's a thing, and it ain't bad, but you just see it so bloody often that one of the things I'm trying to do to make mine stand out is it's actually pinpointing completely. Oh my god. once again, brain, get back into my ear holes, please. Yeah. I am pinpointing it. The series of events where this project stems from a completely different point in time within the Godzilla series. Completely. It has no throwbacks or a reference to the original 1954 film whatsoever. This is its own thing, and I guess one thing I can let slip is it's kind of my idea of the consequence of time travel. Because I really do think, considering how 50-50 the time travel plot for Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is written, I do think the potential is there to kind of expand off of that and possibly write a series of events that could accumulate to consequences of that time travel. But that's just that's as far as I'm going to go with that, because I don't want to give away too much, as the project is nowhere near completion. So we'll see how that goes. I do want to maintain that it's still a very loose adaptation of a Godzilla comic book storyline. This is based off a Dark Horse comic plot line for the Godzilla series that they did back in the 90s. Take that as you will. Okay, so I am going to wrap it all up here, because again, thank you guys for everything you've done. It's one of the reasons it's kept me going. And we've hit 1,500 subscribers recently, so just slow going, there's still some traction there, so yay. I still have a decent backlog up as much as possible, but hopefully it can get to a point where I can have a bit of a breather. And I mentioned earlier in regards to my Jurassic World content, Jurassic World Evolution content, it's not over, and the playthrough is pretty much dead in the water. Now the funny thing is, I did record a 4th episode. Really weird happened with that recording, and it looked like that went completely giddy up at first. I could not find it in my my external hard drive, which through the interim somehow ended up saving there. So yeah, I might release that. Some of that we'll see. We'll see about that. So yeah, outside of not trying to burn to death and enjoying the nice weather while we still got it, I am doing rather alright, and I hope you take care of yourselves. For those who are heading out to G-Fest soon, I hope you all have a wonderful time, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about it whenever you guys get back and I ever happen to pop on one of your channels and see your videos on it. And then, of course, there's the second anime Godzilla film coming out relatively soon, so I'm highly looking forward to seeing that as well. So that's pretty much the conclusive update. Thanks for tuning in as usual. This is SUPERTOHOREMIX signing out. Stay cool, because seriously, this heat wave, at least by Britain standards, is completely unnatural. Oh wait, hang on, there is one thing I almost forgot to mention. Possibly when I hit 2,000 subscribers, I will be doing another Q&A video. So for those who missed out on the first one, stay tuned, because when I hit that number, well, the second Q&A could happen, and it could very well feature your question. So heads up on that. And I'll see you guys next time. You take care. Bye-bye.